The Galactic Empire had seen many strange things in its long history, but nothing prepared it for the message that echoed across every major listening post that quiet cycle. The long-range scanners on Station Helion 4 picked up a small ship entering controlled space. At first, no one cared. Small ships wandered near the border all the time. Most were lost traders or pirates trying to hide from patrols. But this one was different. The ship moved fast, too fast. It cut through empty space like a knife through soft metal. Its engines burned with a strange blue-white flame that did not match any known species technology. Helion 4's crew watched in silence as the craft adjusted its course with unnatural precision. It looked damaged, as if it had traveled through a storm of fire. Its outer hull carried black burn marks and long cracks that glowed faintly. Some parts were missing entirely. At first, the station commander, Varric, ordered the scanners to zoom in. Maybe it was an unmanned drone. Maybe it was some forgotten prototype. But then the ship sent a message. A simple message. A short message. A message that made every officer in the control room freeze in shock. This is the human vessel. Resolute Dawn, requesting emergency docking. Repeat. Human vessel requesting docking. Silence swallowed the station. Everyone stared at Commander Varric, waiting for him to speak. His throat tightened, and he had to force the words out. Did it? Did it just say human? No one replied. They were too frightened to move, too shocked to think. Humans were a myth. A ghost story told by drunk pilots and bored travelers. A legend from the old frontier days. People said humans once existed somewhere beyond mapped space, but they vanished long ago, destroyed by an ancient war or swallowed by a dying star. Others said they never existed at all, that humans were just a bedtime story for alien children. But now, a ship was claiming to be human, and it was heading straight for the station. "Run the message again," Varric ordered. The transmission replayed. "This is the human vessel Resolute Dawn. Requesting emergency docking." One of the comm officers finally spoke. "Sir, should we tell Central Command?" "Of course tell them," Varric snapped. "Send everything. The ship's records, the message, the scans, send it all." The officer nodded quickly and began typing. But the station's atmosphere was already changing. A feeling of fear mixed with something else, something heavier. Hope? Curiosity? No one wanted to name it. The ship came closer. The crew watched with wide eyes. The hull's damage was worse than they first thought. Parts looked melted. Something had burned deep wounds into the metal. "It was amazing the ship was still flying at all. Should we send fighters?" one guard asked. Varric shook his head. "Not yet. If that ship really is human, then we cannot risk firing on it." A low hum filled the room as the ship approached the docking ring. Everyone leaned forward, breaths held, waiting for something, anything, to tell them what was coming next. Then the ship's engines shut down. The Resolute Dawn floated like a wounded animal drifting into a hunter's trap. Docking clamps reached out, grabbed it, and locked it into place with a metallic thud. The control room erupted with noise, orders, questions, panicked voices, but Varric silenced them with a raised hand. Open audio channel only. "No visual. I want to hear who or what is inside that ship." A beep sounded. The channel opened. The voice that came through was strange, soft, slow, but filled with a tired determination that sent chills down everyone's spine. "Station Helion 4. This is Captain Elias Ward of the human ship Resolute Dawn. I am the last surviving crew member. Requesting assistance." It sounded real. Too real. Alien officers exchanged terrified glances. Some stepped back from their consoles. Some whispered prayers to their homeworld gods. This was impossible. Every record said humans were extinct. Their worlds were dead. Their systems abandoned. But the voice was alive, and it was talking to them. Varric forced himself to breathe. "Captain Ward, how did you survive? How did your ship reach Imperial space?" There was a long pause before the human answered. "Because something followed us," he whispered. "Something that destroyed everything." A cold shiver ran through every officer. "What followed you?" Varric asked. The human's voice trembled. "I don't know, but it will come. And when it does, you need to be ready." The channel cut off. For a moment, everyone in the control room stood frozen. Then alarms began flashing. Central Command was calling. High-ranking officials were already demanding answers. Ships across the sector were changing course and heading toward Helion 4. The entire Empire was now watching one small, wounded vessel and one human. Inside the docking hall, air pumps hissed and heavy gates rattled open. A team of armed guards stood in formation, weapons raised, hoping they would not need to use them. The docking corridor slowly connected to the Resolute Dawn. Thick fog escaped from the seams as pressurization equalized. The station's medical team waited behind the guards, prepared to treat whatever creature stepped out. But even they did not believe a real human would emerge. Maybe it was some strange alien pretending to be one. Maybe an AI using old myths to trick them. The final door opened, and a figure stepped out. He walked slowly, as if every step hurt. His uniform was torn and stained with dark, dried blood. His skin was pale, his hair short and dark, his face bruised and exhausted. But his eyes were steady, focused, alive. Commander Varric felt his heart skip a beat. He had never seen a human before. No one alive had, but somehow he knew instantly that this man was exactly what he claimed to be. Guards tensed. Some raised their weapons higher. But the human lifted his hands calmly. "I am not here to harm anyone," he said. "But we do not have much time." Varric stepped forward slowly. "Captain Ward, welcome to Helion 4. You are real," the human nodded once. "Yes, and you need to listen carefully. What destroyed your people?" Varric asked. Ward closed his eyes for a moment, as if remembering something terrible. "It wasn't a war," he said quietly. "It wasn't a disease or a star going supernova. It was something older, something that hunts." Varric swallowed hard. "What does it hunt?" The human opened his eyes. "Life." Every guard shifted nervously. Some whispered. Some took a step back. Ward continued. "We call it the Void Serpent. It travels between systems like a shadow. You do not see it until it is already inside your home. It moves through dark matter fields, feeds on energy. It leaves nothing behind. Why come here?" Varric asked. "Why the Empire?" "Because it follows anything that escapes it," Ward answered. "My ship ran. So it followed. It always follows." A heavy silence fell over the hall. Varric struggled to keep his voice steady. "Are you saying a myth? A monster? Is coming to Imperial space?" "No," Ward replied. "I am saying it is already here." Alarms suddenly blared. Everyone turned. Sensors across the station were lighting up like a burning star. Signals screamed warnings. Something massive had appeared at the edge of the system. Something that blocked out half the scanner display. A shape made of shadow. A beast moving through the void, and it was coming straight toward them. Ward's eyes hardened. "I told you," he said. "It follows." The Galactic Empire had feared humans for countless generations. But now, faced with something far worse, every alien officer in that room realized a terrifying truth. They did not fear the human enough, and they would soon learn why humanity had truly fallen. Chaos spread across Station Helion 4 as the alarms continued to scream. Red lights flashed across every corridor, and emergency doors slammed shut with loud metallic thuds. The crew tried to react, but fear moved faster than their hands. No one had ever seen a threat this large appear so suddenly. Commander Varric stared at the main display in the control center. The scanners shook, the image flickering and distorting as if something enormous was bending the very space around it. The creature, or object, or whatever dark thing was out there, filled the screen like a living shadow. "It's swallowing the light," one officer whispered. Varric forced himself to speak. "Can anyone identify it?" "No, Commander," the science officer answered. "It blocks every signal we send. It's like our sensors can't touch it." Captain Ward stood behind the officers, quiet but focused. Despite his weak condition, he looked more prepared than any of them. His eyes stayed fixed on the dark shape with a calm born from survival, not courage. "That's it," he said softly. "The Void Serpent." No one dared to speak. Ward pointed to the screen. "It doesn't fly the way ships do. It moves between dimensions. Sometimes it is here. Sometimes it is not. That's why your scanners can't track it. Is it alive? Varric asked. Yes, Ward answered. And very hungry. Before anyone could process his words, the shadow on the screen shifted. It stretched like a long, serpent-like form, twisting through vacuum with silent elegance. A cold shock ran through everyone as its glowing eyes opened, two enormous, dim blue orbs staring at the station from across the void. Every officer stepped back from the screen instinctively. "It sees us," one guard whispered in terror. Ward did not look away. "It always sees." A violent tremor shook the whole station. Consoles sparked. Lights flickered. Some crew members fell to the ground. Sharp alarms rang through the air as systems began to overload. "It's draining our power," shouted the engineering chief. "Something is pulling energy from the reactor." Varric turned to Ward. "You said it feeds on energy. How do we stop it?" "You can't stop it," Ward said quietly. "But you can survive it, at least for a while." "That's not helpful," shouted the security chief. Ward stared at him with a tired expression. "If there was an easy way to defeat it, my people would still be alive." Silence crushed the room. Even the alarms seemed quieter for a moment. Then another violent jolt shook Helion 4. The science officer checked his screen, hands shaking. "Commander, the creature is opening something, some kind of rift. It's creating a gravitational pull." The image showed space around the creature bending, twisting into a circular wound. Pieces of old debris from the orbital ring began drifting toward the growing spiral. "It's trying to pull the station in," Ward said. "It wants to feed, not without a fight," Varric growled. He grabbed the comm panel. "All defense ships launch immediately. I repeat, launch. Protect the station." Dozens of Imperial starfighters shot out of their hangars, engines burning bright as they formed defensive formations around Helion 4. Larger cruisers powered up their weapons. Everything the station had was suddenly pointing toward the shadow in the void. "Open fire!" Varric shouted. Beams of plasma and bursts of missiles filled space with blinding light. The air in the control room hummed as energy weapons discharged at full strength. Every officer leaned forward, watching for any sign of damage. But the shadow did not move. The attacks passed through it like beams of light through smoke. The energy vanished the moment it touched the creature's body, swallowed into darkness. The void serpent did not react. It did not roar or thrash. It did not even acknowledge the thousands of weapons striking it. It simply drifted forward, quiet and unstoppable. What is that thing made of?" One officer cried. "Nightmares," Ward said bitterly. "And hunger." The serpent suddenly changed shape, its long body expanding like a dark wing stretching across the stars. The glowing rift behind it widened, pulling debris, starfighter wreckage, and drifting metal into its swirling maw. A wave of panic spread across the control center. "Commander, our fighters can't get close. Their energy shields collapse instantly." Another officer shouted, "Cruiser Vanguard reports total power loss." "They're drifting toward the rift." Varric grabbed his head, trying to think. "How did your people survive this thing at all?" Ward hesitated, pain flashing across his face. "We didn't." The control room went silent again. Ward continued, his voice quieter. "Only 5 ships escaped the first attack. All damaged. All running. One by one, the serpent caught them. Mine was the last. How did you get away?" Varric asked. Ward avoided his eyes. "My ship didn't outrun it. Something else pulled the serpent off us for a moment. I don't know why. Maybe another energy source. Maybe another target. I took the chance." He finally looked at Varric. "But it never forgets the taste of a ship it touched. It follows until nothing remains." The station shook again. Sparks burst from the ceiling. A section of wall split open, revealing live cables. Smoke filled the air. "The serpent is turning!" the science officer shouted. "It's targeting us directly." Fuel and metal debris spiraled toward the creature like rivers flowing uphill. Some starfighters were pulled in, too, their engines screaming before they vanished into the rift. The pilot's final transmissions filled the speakers with static and fear. Varric slammed his fists against the console. "There must be a way to fight this thing." Ward stepped forward. "There is one way. You run!" "That's not an option," Varric snapped. "Evacuating this station would take hours." "Then you fight a battle you cannot win," Ward replied, "and die a death you cannot stop." Varric's jaw locked. How did you slow it down?" Ward closed his eyes. By giving it something bigger to chew on. Before Varric could ask, the serpent opened its mouth. It was not a normal mouth. It was not even a physical structure. It was a widening void, a hole in reality, glowing with a frightening blue light. The space around it trembled as if the universe itself feared what was coming. A deep, vibrating hum filled the station. Screens dimmed. Lights dimmed. Everything dimmed. It's feeding, Ward said. On us. Shut down the reactors. Varric ordered. All of them. Cut power to the station. Officers rushed to comply, hands flying across their panels. But the serpent only grew brighter. Ward shook his head. It doesn't matter. It can sense energy. Even the smallest spark will lead it straight to you. So what do we do? Varric demanded. We do what humans did, Ward answered. We make it choke. He pointed to a part of the display showing Helion 4's fuel reserves, hundreds of tanks the size of buildings storing volatile starship-grade plasma. If you overload those tanks and eject them toward the serpent, Ward said, the explosion will be massive enough to blind it, maybe even hurt it. And if it doesn't work? Varric asked. Then at least you die with a chance, Ward replied. Not as food. Varric stared at him, then nodded. Prepare. The fuel tanks for detonation, he ordered. Officers turned pale. That will destroy the entire docking ring, one said. Then, we'd better move fast, Varric replied. Ward suddenly grabbed Varric's arm. Not just the tanks. You need to get your people off this station, now. The evacuation ships aren't ready. Then get them ready, Ward said. Because the serpent is almost here. The lights flickered again. The shadow outside grew larger. The rift widened. The void serpent opened its glowing eyes once more, locking onto the station like a predator finally spotting prey that could no longer hide. Ward whispered the words no one wanted to hear. It has found us. No one wanted to hear. It has found us. The evacuation sirens of Helion 4 screamed across every level as the void serpent drifted closer. People ran through the halls in panicked waves, scientists, engineers, soldiers, and officers, all pushing toward escape pods and transport ships. The bright red warning lights flashed along the floors and walls, making every corridor feel like it was pulsing with fear. Commander Varric moved quickly toward the emergency command station, trying to stay calm even though his hands were shaking. His officers followed closely, shouting updates over the rising noise of the fleeing crowds. Commander, evacuation decks 3 through 7 are secure. Deck 10 is overloaded. We need more shuttles. Power drain is increasing. We might lose gravity soon. Varric forced his voice to remain steady. Keep the lines moving. No one stops. No one turns back. But it was hard to stay brave when everyone knew a living nightmare was crawling toward them through space. Captain Ward walked beside Varric, his steps slow but determined. Every officer around him tried not to stare. Even in this chaos, the idea of a real human among them felt unreal. But the fear outside the station was worse. The massive shadow was now close enough to see with the naked eye through the station windows, a twisting, dark shape that swallowed the starlight around it. Ward stopped at a large pane of glass and stared outward. The creature glowed with faint blue lines like cracks of light running across a long serpentine body. It's moving faster, Ward said quietly. Varric joined him. How close before it reaches us? Ward looked at him with grim eyes. Minutes! The ground shook. A deep rumble vibrated through the station, knocking several officers off balance. Some screamed. Dust fell from the ceiling. Emergency lights flickered. The science officer checked her panel, her face pale. Commander, the serpent's gravitational pull is rising. It's beginning to tear small objects from our docking frame. Then we don't have time, Varric said. He turned to Ward. Show me exactly how humans overloaded their fuel reserves. Ward nodded once. Follow me. They pushed through the panic-filled hallways, with guards clearing the way as people rushed past them in waves. The air smelled of metal and burning wires. Somewhere far down the station, an explosion shook the floor. What was that? Varric demanded. Power conduit failure, an engineer shouted as he ran by. Systems are failing faster than we can shut them down. Ward didn't break stride. That's the serpent feeding. It drains everything. Technology, power, energy, anything that shines. They reached the fuel control chamber, an enormous circular room filled with pipes, tanks, and heavy machinery. Blue holographic panels floated above consoles, showing warnings in dozens of alien languages. Ward moved toward the main control terminal. Your fuel tanks are huge. Good. Big explosion. We're trying not to destroy the station, Varric said tightly. Ward gave him a tired half-smile. Then you shouldn't have asked a human for advice. He entered the override commands. The holographic screen changed, showing a massive cluster of fuel tanks attached to the station's underside. A young technician swallowed hard. If we overload these tanks, it might tear half the station apart. It might save the rest, Varric said. The lights flickered. A loud groan echoed through the chamber. Metal supports bent slightly as if something outside were pulling them. The serpent was closing in. Ward pointed to the display. Once the sequence starts, you have 90 seconds to detach the tanks. They will drift toward the serpent, and when it reaches for them, you detonate. How do humans detonate something from a distance if it drains power? Varric asked. Ward tapped his chest. Mechanical trigger. No energy signal. No electronics. Just a physical device. Do you have anything like that? The technician stepped forward. We can use compressed core detonators. They can be triggered by pressure, not energy. Ward's eyes brightened slightly. Perfect. Bring them. While the technician ran off, Varric turned toward the hatch. We need to hurry. The evacuation ships must all be gone before we blow the tanks. Ward followed him, but then stopped suddenly. He held onto a railing, his body shaking. His breathing grew uneven. You're injured, Varric said. You need medical care. Ward shook his head. Later. Focus. The human looked so tired it hurt to see him standing, but he still kept moving. They reached the main corridor that led to the escape hangars. Hundreds of people were already boarding shuttles. Engines roared as ships launched one after another into space. Some drifted from the serpent's pull, wobbling awkwardly as they tried to escape its invisible grip. A loud crash echoed through the hallway. The station tilted slightly. A whole section of ceiling came down, sending sparks across the floor. The serpent is pulling pieces of the outer shell, an officer shouted. Varric grabbed the comm panel on the wall. All remaining staff, board evacuation ships immediately. I repeat, this is your final boarding call. The crowd moved even faster. Ward pointed toward a docking hatch. We need to get into one of the last shuttles. From there, we can trigger the detonation. You're coming with us, Varric said. No argument. Ward looked at him with something like disbelief. You would save me? You warned us, Varric replied. And you may know more about this creature than anyone alive. Ward hesitated. Humans don't get saved very often. Varric put a firm hand on his shoulder. Today you do. The station shook violently again. The entire hallway went dark for a moment before emergency power kicked in. More screams echoed in the distance. The technician ran toward them carrying a small metal case. The detonators! Good, Ward said. To the shuttle! They boarded the last emergency transport, a small ship packed tightly with engineers and guards. The doors slammed shut behind them with a heavy thud. The pilot shouted, We're losing gravity! Launching now! The shuttle detached, shooting away from Helion 4 into the open void. The moment the ship left the docking bay, the passengers gasped in shock. Through the windows, they saw the Void Serpent in full size for the first time. It was enormous. Its body stretched across space like a living river of darkness. Long, shadow-like fins glided around it, shimmering like smoke underwater. The glowing cracks across its skin pulsed with hungry blue light, and Helion 4 looked tiny beside it. Some of the younger crew cried. Others whispered prayers. Even Varric went silent. Ward simply stared. His expression was not fear. It was memory. Fuel tanks are separating now, the pilot said. Large metal containers drifted away from the station, moving slowly toward the serpent. Prepare detonators, Ward said. The technician opened the case and handed Ward a small device with a circular core. Varric took one too. On my mark, Ward said. When the serpent reaches for the tanks, the shadow creature shifted. Its long body bent slowly as if tasting the air. Then it opened its mouth. a widening dark circle glowing with shimmering blue cracks. It pulled the fuel tanks toward it with a fierce gravitational wave. "Now!" Ward shouted. Ward and Varric slammed the detonators downward. A silent flash filled space, then a second flash, then a third, and then a massive explosion erupted. Bright, white, blinding. The shockwave rolled across the void, slamming into Helion-4 and into the shuttles nearby. Alarms blared on the transport ship. The Serpent twisted violently, its body reacting for the first time since entering the system. Its glowing eyes dimmed. Its shadow-like fins folded inward. It let out a silent, shivering ripple that shook the nearest ships. "It's hurt!" the pilot yelled. Ward leaned forward, staring at the creature with wide eyes. "No," he whispered. "It's not hurt." The Serpent slowly lifted its head. Its glowing blue cracks brightened again, and with a horrifying calmness, the creature began moving, directly toward the evacuation shuttles. "It's changing targets," Varric said. "It's coming for us!" Ward's voice lowered. It smelled something in the blast. "Something stronger than plasma? What?" Varric demanded. Ward stared straight ahead. "Me." The transport ship's alarms wailed as the Void Serpent rushed closer, its jaws opening wide. The pilot screamed, "Brace for impact!" Ward stood up slowly. "It's not after the station," he said. "It's after the last human." And the Serpent hurled itself toward the fleeing shuttle like a predator that had finally found its original prey. The shuttle's warning lights flared bright red as the Void Serpent closed the distance. The creature moved fast, too fast. Its long body twisted like a massive ribbon of darkness, sliding through space with a terrible silence. Its glowing cracks pulsed brighter, as if sensing its prey with growing hunger. Inside the shuttle, panic surged. People clung to their seats. Some shouted prayers. Others sobbed quietly. The pilot struggled to keep control, sweat dripping down his forehead as he fought the violent gravitational waves shaking the ship. "It's accelerating," the pilot yelled. "We can't outrun it." The transport shuddered. Every bolt and plate vibrated, rattling like they were about to tear free. Commander Varric grabbed the pilot's chair. "Give me our status." "We're losing engine output," the pilot shouted. "It's draining us, pulling our power again." Ward steadied himself, gripping a support rail tightly. His face had gone pale, but his voice stayed steady. "It's not trying to destroy the shuttle. It's trying to take me." Varric turned sharply. "Why? Why is it after you specifically?" Ward looked away. "Humans taste different to it." The entire shuttle went silent. No one knew how to respond to that. Ward continued quietly. "It remembers every ship it touches, every human. It chased our fleet across 3 systems. It hunted us one by one, and now I'm the last one left." Another violent tremor rattled the ship. Loose tools flew across the cabin. Panels ripped out of walls. The lights dimmed again. Varric forced himself to stay calm. "There must be a way to hide you from it." "No," Ward said. "It can sense living energy, heat, movement, thought." The window beside him suddenly darkened as a massive shadow slid past the shuttle. Everyone gasped. The Serpent had moved directly beside them. The creature's body stretched longer than the entire shuttle fleet combined. Its glowing blue cracks pulsed with slow, rhythmic thumps, like the heartbeat of a cosmic predator. One of the guards whispered, trembling, "This thing could eat planets." Ward's voice was a quiet tremor. "It has." The Serpent's head drifted closer, so close that its dark skin pressed against the shuttle's hull. The glowing lines etched across its face pulsed brighter, flowing like liquid light. Its eyes, vast, blue, faintly shimmering, fixed on the shuttle, staring through metal, through walls, through everything, directly at Ward. It knew he was there. The creature opened its jaws. A swirling darkness formed inside, like a storm of blue fire sucking the light from the cabin. "Pilot, move us! Now!" Varric shouted. The pilot pushed the engines to full power, but the ship barely moved. "The Serpent's gravitational pull was too strong. We're locked in!" the engineer yelled. "It has us!" Ward pushed past Varric and moved toward the front of the shuttle. "What are you doing?" Varric demanded. "Ending this," Ward said. "If it wants me, I'll go out there and draw it off. The rest of you will escape." "No," Varric blocked him. "That thing will kill you!" Ward's voice was calm. "It already killed everyone else." Before Varric could answer, the entire shuttle jolted sideways. Screams filled the cabin. The Serpent was trying to pry the ship open, dragging its hull toward the swirling void inside its mouth. "We're losing structural integrity!" a technician yelled. A loud tearing sound echoed through the cabin as the shuttle's outer plating began to bend. Ward grabbed Varric's arm. "Commander, listen. Let me go, I am the problem. Without me, it may leave your people alone." Varric's jaw tightened. "No, you warned us. You helped us. I will not trade your life for ours." Ward stared at him, stunned. "Why would you save a species you barely believe existed?" "Because you're alive," Varric said firmly. "And because my empire does not abandon those who stand with us." Before Ward could speak, the pilot shouted, "Commander! Large signature approaching fast, multiple ships." Varric spun toward the window. 3 massive star cruisers dropped out of hyperspace, engines burning bright. Their hulls carried the golden mark of the Imperial Golden Fleet, one of the most powerful battle groups in the galaxy. The lead cruiser opened a wideband channel. "Helion survivors. This is Admiral Sorek," a powerful voice thundered through the speakers. "Maintain your course. We are engaging the entity." Ward's eyes widened. "No, they don't understand. They can't hurt it." But the cruisers had already begun firing. Colossal cannons charged, glowing brighter and brighter until they released massive beams of crackling golden plasma. The shots streaked across space, slamming into the Serpent's body. For the first time, the creature reacted, but not with pain, with interest. Its eyes turned away from Ward and toward the cruisers. "It sees a new source of energy," Ward whispered. "Something larger. Something brighter." The creature opened its jaws wider. A powerful gravitational wave blasted outward, slamming into the cruisers like a tidal wave made of pure force. One cruiser spun violently, its shields collapsing instantly. Another tried to pull back, engines burning white-hot against the pull. Admiral Sorek's voice returned, now strained. "This thing is pulling us in!" Ward leaned forward, shouting at the comm panel. "Admiral, shut down power. Now, cut everything!" "What? Who is this?" "Do it or you will die!" Silence. Then, "All ships, shut down power immediately." Sorek roared. The cruisers went dark. Lights dimmed. Engines shut off. Weapons powered down. And for a brief moment, the gravitational pull weakened. Varric exhaled in shock. It worked, but the relief lasted only seconds. The Serpent tilted its massive head and opened its jaws wider than before. Its glowing cracks pulsed violently. Ward's face hardened. "It's not fooled. It's only choosing a target." Then the pilot cursed loudly. "It's turning toward us again." The Serpent's eyes fixed on the shuttle once more. The hull creaked under the pressure. Screws popped out. A window shattered, spraying sharp fragments. None of the cruisers dared reactivate power. None could help. The Serpent was locked on the shuttle alone. Ward slowly stood up. "There's only one way," he said, quiet, simple, accepting. Varric grabbed his arm. "Don't," Ward looked him in the eyes. "If I stay, you all die. If I leave, maybe you live." "No sacrifice," Varric said. "We'll find another way." "There is no other way," Ward whispered. The shuttle lurched again. A metal beam snapped loose above, crashing into the walkway. The human reached toward the emergency airlock. Varric stepped between him and the hatch. "If you go out there, it will consume you." Ward smiled sadly. "Then at least the Serpent ends with me." But before he could open the hatch, the shuttle suddenly spun violently. The pilot screamed. "Something just appeared behind us! Massive energy surge!" A deep hum filled the cabin. Everyone turned to the window. Space behind the shuttle distorted. Light twisted. Stars stretched. A shimmering sphere of silver light formed, growing brighter, brighter, until a massive ship burst through. It was like nothing any of the officers had ever seen. Sleek, sharp, angular, covered in glowing white lines. Familiar, but unfamiliar. Ward stared at it in shock. "That's impossible." Varric frowned. "What is it?" Ward whispered. "That's a human beacon ship, a rescue-class vessel." "But those..." Those were all destroyed. The ship opened a channel. A calm human voice filled the shuttle. "Captain Elias Ward, if you are alive, respond immediately." Everyone turned to Ward. Eyes wide, the serpent froze. Its entire body stiffened, its glow flickering like a dimming star, as if the new arrival had stunned it. Ward slowly approached the comm. "This is Captain Ward," he answered, voice trembling. "But how are you alive?" The human voice replied, "Elias, we didn't die. Humanity didn't fall. And we're coming for you." The void serpent turned toward the new human ship and let out a silent roar that shook the stars. The Remembrance raced through space at full speed, its engines burning bright silver as it carried the wounded shuttle deep inside its hull. Behind them, the void serpent twisted and roared silently, its huge body moving in an angry wave. The creature was not giving up, not even a little. Every glowing crack along its shadowy form brightened with furious blue light. Inside the human rescue ship's hangar, alarms still echoed and sparks crackled from the shuttle's damaged hull. The evacuees from Helion 4 sat stunned, trying to understand what had happened. Some hugged each other. Others sat shaking, hands pressed against their helmets. Commander Varric stepped out of the shuttle slowly, blinking under the bright white lights of the hangar. Everything looked different from Imperial technology. Human designs were simple, smooth, and glowing with soft light. Even the walls seemed alive, humming with quiet energy. Ward stood near the hatch, staring at the other humans. He looked like someone who'd stepped into a dream he didn't believe. Commander Lyra Hale approached him with 2 medics at her side. She touched his shoulder gently. "You look terrible, Elias," she said softly. Ward gave a weak smile. "You don't look so great yourself." Lyra laughed quietly, just once, before the moment faded. She gestured to the medics. "Get him to the medical bay, now!" 2 soldiers carefully guided Ward away. Varric stepped forward. "Commander Hale, I am Commander Varric of the Galactic Empire. On behalf of my people, I thank you." Lyra raised a hand to stop him, though her expression stayed respectful. "We can talk soon, but right now, we need to leave this area before the serpent closes in." One of the human officers approached, helmet under his arm. "Commander, the serpent is accelerating." "It's matching our speed," Lyra nodded. "Of course it is." "It wants Elias." Varric stared at her. "Why? What does it want with humans so badly?" Lyra did not answer immediately. She turned toward the hangar doors, staring through the reinforced window at the giant shadow twisting in the distance. "It wants the one thing it has never truly consumed," she said quietly. "Human consciousness." Varric felt a chill run down his spine. "You mean—" "The mind?" Lyra nodded. "The serpent doesn't just eat matter or energy. It eats ideas, instinct, memory, life. When it devours a species, it takes something from them, something deeper than flesh." She looked at Varric with calm, serious eyes. "Humans fought back. We resisted more than any species it has ever encountered. To the serpent, we are unfinished food." A long silence followed. Outside, the serpent's body glowed brighter. The glowing cracks along its massive form pulsed like a beating heart. Lyra's voice lowered. "And it wants to finish the meal." The ship shook suddenly, hard. Everyone stumbled as another gravitational wave smashed into the hull. Sirens shrieked. "Commander!" An officer shouted over the comms. "The serpent is locking onto us again." Lyra straightened. "Bridge, now!" She began walking, and Varric followed without being asked. His officers followed him nervously, unsure of what they were stepping into. The halls of the human ship were bright and smooth, with glowing lines running along the floors and ceilings. Everything felt warm, alive, and strangely welcoming. Even the doors opened silently, sensing movement before anyone touched them. The bridge was a circular room filled with holographic displays and human officers at their stations. Silver light bathed the room, reflecting off the curved walls. A large transparent window looked out into the void, showing the serpent gaining on them, fast. The creature's glowing cracks pulsed violently. Its body stretched, moving with unnatural speed. Varric felt his chest tighten. Your ship can't outrun that thing. Lyra took her seat at the center console. We don't plan to outrun it. The statement made every alien officer freeze. Then what are we doing? Varric demanded. Lyra looked toward the ceiling. Hailing the fleet, the bridge speakers chimed. A deep, calm human voice came through. This is Beacon Network Command. Transmission received. Reinforcements mobilizing. Varric blinked. Reinforcements? How many? Lyra looked at him steadily. All of them. The bridge lights dimmed momentarily. A swirling mass of shimmering silver energy opened ahead of the remembrance. A gateway. More than a gateway. A door. Through it, dozens of human ships appeared, then hundreds. Ships of all sizes. Sleek, white, glowing with soft lines like living metal, poured out of the rift. Some were small, dart-shaped fighters. Others were massive fortress ships, each one larger than the serpent's head. All of them burned with a bright white glow. Varric stared, speechless. His officers gasped. His people had. Believed humans extinct. Myths. But here before him was a fleet strong enough to rival the Empire. Itself, Lyra stood. This is the human beacon. Fleet. The last remnant of humanity. The largest ship stepped forward. A colossal vessel shaped like a silver spear. Its entire hull pulsed with glowing symbols that flowed like water. The bridge speakers announced, Flagship Rising Dawn entering the field. All units prepare for serpent engagement. Varric felt the hairs rise on the back of his neck. You're going to fight that thing? Lyra nodded once. Yes, but you said it can't be killed. Not before, Lyra said. Not with the weapons we had when humanity was dying. She pointed toward the flagship, but we have evolved. On the screen, the Rising Dawn began charging its main weapon. Thousands of tiny lights across its hull lit up like stars forming within metal. It took us decades to rebuild, Lyra continued. Decades of hiding in the dark. Decades of learning from the serpent's attacks. And decades of designing something that could hurt it. The serpent roared again, rushing forward. Its jaws widened, glowing bright enough to burn shadows across the bridge. It's coming straight at us, Varric shouted. Lyra smiled, not with joy, but with fierce determination. We want it to. The entire beacon fleet activated their engines. Humans didn't run this time. They advanced. The Rising Dawn fired first. A beam of pure white light, brighter than any star, shot forward, straight into the serpent's open jaws. The creature recoiled violently, its body twisting in agony for the first time ever. The light carved into its dark form, peeling back layers of shadow. Its glowing cracks flared wildly, flashing between blue and white. It's hurting it! Varric shouted. Lyra nodded. This beam is made from the same energy the serpent feeds on, but weaponized. It overwhelms its senses, burns its insides. Another human ship fired, then another. Dozens. Brilliant beams sliced into the creature. The void lit up as if a second sun had been born. The serpent screamed, still silent, but the vibrations shook the fleet. Lyra's eyes stayed cold. We learned from the fall of our worlds. We made our pain into power. And now, she pointed toward the serpent, we make the hunter fear us. But as the beams struck the monster again and again, the creature's glow began to change. Not fade, Varric's voice tightened. Commander, it's absorbing the light. Lyra's confident expression slipped. It's adapting. The creature twisted toward the Rising Dawn, its eyes burning brighter. Ward's voice suddenly came through the speakers from the medical bay, weak but urgent. Lyra, stop firing! Lyra froze. Elias? Ward coughed, voice ragged. Stop firing. You're making it stronger. Lyra's face drained of color. What do you mean? Ward inhaled painfully. The serpent doesn't just eat energy, it learns from it. The massive creature opened its jaws wider than ever. Its glowing cracks pulsed with a new, terrifying rhythm. Ward's final words echoed through the bridge. It's evolving. And the void serpent unleashed a blast of energy so massive that it shattered entire sections of the battlefield. Entire sections of the battlefield. The blast from the void serpent tore across the battlefield like a wave made of living night. The bright human beams striking its body suddenly bent backward, pulled into a swirling vortex of blue and white light. Human ships staggered in formation, alarms flashing everywhere as the creature absorbed the energy and threw it back with terrifying power. The shockwave hit the front line of the beacon fleet first. 5 human fighters vanished instantly, swallowed in a flash of light. 2 larger cruisers spun helplessly, their engines failing as the Serpent's evolved attack drained their cores dry. Inside the Remembrance, emergency lights flashed red across the bridge. Commander Lyra Hale grabbed the arm of her chair to stay upright. "Damage report! Severe power drain across the ship," an officer cried. "Shields down to 18%. Stabilize the reactor," Lyra ordered. "We can't," another officer yelled. "Whatever that thing released, it's shutting down every energy source we have." Commander Varric stared at the screen, horrified. The creature looked even larger now. Its glowing cracks were bright white, no longer blue. The light inside them pulsed with a rhythm like a beating heart, alive, growing, learning. He turned to Lyra. "This is worse than you said." "Much worse," Lyra's jaw tightened. "Because it has never fed on this much energy before." "Not at once." The Serpent turned its head slowly, focusing on the beacon flagship Rising Dawn. The great ship's bright silver glow flickered like a candle in the wind. "It's targeting the flagship," Varric said. Lyra nodded grimly. "It will go after the brightest source, like always." In the medical bay, Captain Ward forced himself off the treatment bed, ripping wires from his arms. A medic rushed toward him. "Captain, you aren't stable!" Ward pushed the medic aside gently. "I don't have time." He stumbled toward the hall, still weak but determined. The Serpent's blast had sent a deep shock through him that the medics didn't understand. But he did. He felt the monster trying to touch his mind again, reaching through its strange new energy to find him. He reached the nearest comm panel and slammed a hand onto it. "Lyra! Listen to me!" Lyra's voice answered through the speaker, urgent. "Elias, where are you?" "Doesn't matter," Ward said. "Just listen. The Serpent isn't just feeding. It's evolving through your weapons. Every shot you fire gives it new strength." Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. "Then we stop firing." "No," Ward said, breathing hard. "That's not enough. You need to disarm. Shut down every energy source you have." The bridge fell silent. Varric blinked. "Shut down, you mean surrender the entire fleet?" Ward nodded slowly. "Yes." Lyra stared at the speaker. "Elias, if we shut down everything, we're dead. We'll be floating targets." "I know," Ward said. "But the Serpent can't feed on what doesn't shine. It can't follow what it can't sense. When humans ran from it, we survived longest when we went dark," Varric frowned. "But you said it can sense thought." Ward nodded again. "Not from far away. Only when energy guides it." Lyra looked conflicted, torn between her duty and her fear. She stared at the image of the Serpent on the main screen as it approached the rising dawn, its jaws opening wide, light gathering like a glowing storm ready to fire again. Lyra whispered, "This is madness." "It's survival," Ward said softly. The Serpent's second blast began forming, a swirling ball of white-blue energy as bright as a star core. Varric looked at Lyra. "Commander, if that thing fires again, you lose your flagship. Maybe your whole species." Lyra's hands trembled slightly. She had commanded fleets, fought battles, faced horrors in the dark, but she had never stood before something that could unmake worlds. Ward's voice returned, quieter. "Lyra, trust me. Please." Lyra let out a long breath, then she stood tall. "All beacon ships," she said. "This is Commander Hale. Prepare for full system blackout." Gasps echoed across the bridge. "Commander, we'll be defenseless!" An officer began. Lyra raised her voice, firm and unshakable. "You heard me. Kill the lights. Kill the cores. Kill everything." The Serpent's blast grew brighter. "Countdown," Lyra said. 5. All across the fleet, ship lights dimmed. 4. Engines powered down. 3. Weapons collapsed. Shields died. 2. Human ships drifted silently through the void. 1. The entire beacon fleet went dark. The creature's glowing eyes flickered. Its blast shrank suddenly, stumbling in its formation as if confused. Lyra watched the screen. Breath held. The serpent twisted its massive head slowly. Its glowing lines flickered. It scanned the void. The battlefield was silent. Still, empty, dead. The serpent opened its jaws wider. Searching for energy signatures. Nothing. It shifted left. Nothing. It shifted right. Nothing. It scanned the fleet. Again. Still nothing. The creatures glowing. Cracks dimmed slightly, and for the first time, since entering Imperial space, the Void Serpent hesitated. Varric stared in amazement. It can't find us. Lyra nodded slowly, as if barely believing it herself. Elias was right. Ward's voice came weakly from the panel. It's blind now, but it won't stay blind for long. The creature let out a long, vibrating rumble, frustration mixed with hunger. Then it turned away. Slowly. It drifted through space like a wounded shadow, moving in wide circles, searching for the light that had suddenly vanished. Lyra whispered, "Is it leaving?" Ward shook his head on the screen. "No, it's waiting." The serpent hovered in place, circling silently, as if expecting something to shine again. Lyra looked at Ward. "How long?" "Minutes," Ward said. "Maybe less. It knows we're here. Somewhere. It's not leaving until it feeds." Varric stepped forward. "Then what now?" "We can't fire. We can't run." Ward took a long breath. "There's only one thing left. Everyone on the bridge." Turned toward him. Ward said the words quietly, but they shook the room. "We show it something new." Lyra stared. "New?" Ward nodded. "The serpent evolves by learning, but it has never learned one thing." "What's that?" Varric asked. Ward looked through the window at the dark, silent fleet. "Humanity fights hardest when it's afraid." He stood straighter. "Activate the life pulse." Lyra's eyes widened in horror. "Elias, that tech is untested. It could kill you." Ward kept his voice calm. "It will confuse the serpent, overload its senses with something it's never felt. Human thought, shared, focused, bright." Varric watched as the human medics rushed to set up the device around Ward. The serpent turned back toward the fleet. Sensing something shifting, Lyra approached the screen, voice shaking. "Elias, if you do this..." Ward smiled faintly. "Humanity survived by hiding. But we win by standing together." He placed his hand on the glowing device. The serpent lunged, and Ward activated the pulse. A burst of white light shot from the medical bay. No energy, no heat, only thought. Human thought. A wave of pure human memory and emotion blasted across the battlefield. Fear, courage, hope. The serpent froze mid-strike. Its glowing cracks shattered like glass, light breaking apart into dozens of fragments, and for the first time, the Void Serpent screamed. The fleet lit up again, engines activated, weapons recharged. The rising dawn aimed at the creature, the beam charging brighter than ever before. Lyra shouted, "All ships, fire!" Hundreds of beams shot forward. The serpent, stunned and blind, took the full blast. Its massive form cracked, then broke apart piece by piece. Light swallowed its body, and it was gone. Silence. Then cheers erupted across the beacon fleet. Ward collapsed. Lyra caught him through the screen's view, shouting orders for medics with panic and relief mixed together. Varric exhaled slowly. So humanity really did fall. Lyra shook her head. "No," she whispered. "Humanity learned to rise again," she whispered. "Humanity learned to rise again." The blast from the Void Serpent tore across the battlefield like a wave made of living night. The bright human beams striking its body suddenly bent backward, pulled into a swirling vortex of blue and white light. Human ships staggered in formation, alarms flashing everywhere as the creature absorbed the energy and threw it back with terrifying power. The shockwave hit the front line of the beacon fleet first. 5 human fighters vanished instantly, swallowed in a flash of light. Two larger cruisers spun helplessly, their engines failing as the Serpent's evolved attack drained their cores dry. Inside the Remembrance, emergency lights flashed red across the bridge. Commander Lyra Hale grabbed the arm of her chair to stay upright. "Damage report! Severe power drain across the ship," an officer cried. "Shields down to 18%. Stabilize the reactor," Lyra ordered. "We can't," another officer yelled. "Whatever that thing released, it's shutting down every energy source we have." Commander Varric stared at the screen, horrified. The creature looked even larger now. Its glowing cracks were bright white, no longer blue. The light inside them pulsed with a rhythm like a beating heart, alive, growing, learning. He turned to Lyra. "This is worse than you said." "Much worse," Lyra's jaw tightened. "Because it has never fed on this much energy before." "Not at once." The Serpent turned its head slowly, focusing on the beacon flagship Rising Dawn. The great ship's bright silver glow flickered like a candle in the wind. "It's targeting the flagship," Varric said. Lyra nodded grimly. "It will go after the brightest source, like always." In the medical bay, Captain Ward forced himself off the treatment bed, ripping wires from his arms. A medic rushed toward him. "Captain, you aren't stable!" Ward pushed the medic aside gently. "I don't have time." He stumbled toward the hall, still weak but determined. The Serpent's blast had sent a deep shock through him that the medics didn't understand. But he did. He felt the monster trying to touch his mind again, reaching through its strange new energy to find him. He reached the nearest comm panel and slammed a hand onto it. "Lyra! Listen to me!" Lyra's voice answered through the speaker, urgent. "Elias, where are you?" "Doesn't matter," Ward said. "Just listen. The Serpent isn't just feeding. It's evolving through your weapons. Every shot you fire gives it new strength." Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. "Then we stop firing." "No," Ward said, breathing hard. "That's not enough. You need to disarm. Shut down every energy source you have." The bridge fell silent. Varric blinked. "Shut down, you mean surrender the entire fleet?" Ward nodded slowly. "Yes." Lyra stared at the speaker. "Elias, if we shut down everything, we're dead. We'll be floating targets." "I know," Ward said. "But the Serpent can't feed on what doesn't shine. It can't follow what it can't sense. When humans ran from it, we survived longest when we went dark," Varric frowned. "But you said it can sense thought." Ward nodded again. "Not from far away. Only when energy guides it." Lyra looked conflicted, torn between her duty and her fear. She stared at the image of the Serpent on the main screen as it approached the Rising Dawn, its jaws opening wide, light gathering like a glowing storm ready to fire again. Lyra whispered, "This is madness." "It's survival," Ward said softly. The Serpent's second blast began forming, a swirling ball of white-blue energy as bright as a star core. Varric looked at Lyra. "Commander, if that thing fires again, you lose your flagship. Maybe your whole species." Lyra's hands trembled slightly. She had commanded fleets, fought battles, faced horrors in the dark, but she had never stood before something that could unmake worlds. Ward's voice returned, quieter. "Lyra, trust me. Please." Lyra let out a long breath, then she stood tall. "All beacon ships," she said. "This is Commander Hale. Prepare for full system blackout." Gasps echoed across the bridge. "Commander, we'll be defenseless!" An officer began. Lyra raised her voice, firm and unshakable. "You heard me. Kill the lights. Kill the cores. Kill everything." The Serpent's blast grew brighter. "Countdown," Lyra said. 5. All across the fleet, ship lights dimmed. 4. Engines powered down. 3. Weapons collapsed. Shields died. 2. Human ships drifted silently through the void. 1. The entire beacon fleet went dark. The creature's glowing eyes flickered. Its blast shrank suddenly, stumbling in its formation as if confused. Lyra watched the screen. Breath held. The Serpent twisted its massive head slowly. Its glowing lines flickered. It scanned the void. The battlefield was silent. Still, empty, dead. The Serpent opened its jaws wider. Searching for energy signatures. Nothing. It shifted left. Nothing. It shifted right, nothing. It scanned the fleet. Again. Still nothing. The creatures glowing. Cracks dimmed slightly, and for the first time, since entering Imperial space, the Void Serpent hesitated. Varric stared in amazement. It can't find us. Lyra nodded slowly, as if barely believing it herself. Elias was right. Ward's voice came weakly from the panel. It's blind now, but it won't stay blind for long. The creature let out a long, vibrating rumble, frustration mixed with hunger. Then it turned away. Slowly. It drifted through space like a wounded shadow, moving in wide circles, searching for the light that had suddenly vanished. Lyra whispered, "Is it leaving?" Ward shook his head on the screen. "No, it's waiting." The serpent hovered in place, circling silently, as if expecting something to shine again. Lyra looked at Ward. "How long?" "Minutes," Ward said. "Maybe less. It knows we're here. Somewhere. It's not leaving until it feeds." Varric stepped forward. "Then what now?" "We can't fire. We can't run." Ward took a long breath. "There's only one thing left. Everyone on the bridge." Turned toward him. Ward said the words quietly, but they shook the room. "We show it something new." Lyra stared. "New?" Ward nodded. "The serpent evolves by learning, but it has never learned one thing." "What's that?" Varric asked. Ward looked through the window at the dark, silent fleet. "Humanity fights hardest when it's afraid." He stood straighter. "Activate the life pulse." Lyra's eyes widened in horror. "Elias, that tech is untested. It could kill you." Ward kept his voice calm. "It will confuse the serpent, overload its senses with something it's never felt. Human thought, shared, focused, bright." Varric watched as the human medics rushed to set up the device around Ward. The serpent turned back toward the fleet. Sensing something shifting, Lyra approached the screen, voice shaking. "Elias, if you do this..." Ward smiled faintly. "Humanity survived by hiding, but we win by standing together." He placed his hand on the glowing device. The serpent lunged, and Ward activated the pulse. A burst of white light shot from the medical bay. No energy, no heat, only thought. Human thought. A wave of pure human memory and emotion blasted across the battlefield. Fear. Courage. Hope. The serpent froze mid-strike. Its glowing cracks shattered like glass, light breaking apart into dozens of fragments, and for the first time, the Void Serpent screamed. The fleet lit up again, engines activated, weapons recharged. The rising dawn aimed at the creature, the beam charging brighter than ever before. Lyra shouted, "All ships, fire!" Hundreds of beams shot forward. The serpent, stunned and blind, took the full blast. Its massive form cracked, then broke apart piece by piece. Light swallowed its body, and it was gone. Silence. Then cheers erupted across the beacon fleet. Ward collapsed. Lyra caught him through the screen's view, shouting orders for medics with panic and relief mixed together. Varric exhaled slowly. So humanity really did fall. Lyra shook her head. "No," she whispered. "Humanity learned to rise again." She whispered. "Humanity learned to rise again."